Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone out today. We need to call the meeting to order, so if everyone's staff is pledged, I appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As usual, please silence your cell phones. Ms. Settleford, have roll call, please.
Mayor Plummer.
Here.
Commissioner Brooks.
Here.
Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Gray will be out today. Commissioner Withrow.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Hey, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. First item we have is number 4, approval of the minutes. We have the meeting minutes from February 28th, 2023. Are there any comments or concerns about the minutes as presented? Hearing none, may I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to public comment. We have Mr. Brian Bailey here. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. Here. Does this count as my time? All right, here we go. Basically, 17th Street has got a pole, did have a pole right on the very corner, and the semis were coming up and cracking up the sidewalk. So, they're cracking up the sidewalk. So, I fixed the sidewalk. I was putting posts in it. Some metal posts to keep the trucks off of it. And I was told by the powers that be then that I wasn't allowed to do that. So it's been less than 10 years, the sidewalk's cracked up, that street's too narrow to run semis up and down. So in my way of thinking, it's on you now. I fixed it once, I tried to fix the problem, the poles moved back, they didn't do anything about making it the road any wider on the other side, because they always come in from the Lexington side. But the sidewalk's now broke up, and I got a tenant in a wheelchair, so needs to be something done. What would this mean? 1 minute 53 seconds, huh? How about that one, huh?
Yeah.
It's 17th Street. I don't know what the address is. It's a corner. But I mean, the trucks go all the way. The guys over at the auto parts store was wondering if they're going to hit the house. The semi was, the yard's maybe 15 feet or something, and the truck was in it like 10 feet. I mean, and this is, I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of truckers are morons. I mean, as far as driving into town, we got 2 police officers right there backing me up on that one. Some of them never been off the road in their life, you know. So that's all I have to say about that. Can you guys fix it, in other words, is what I'm asking.
We appreciate, did the commission have any questions for Mr. Bailey?
Of course, we'll have to look at it and see what condition it's in and what can be done.
Right, it's in horrible condition. I mean, and I didn't get a couple bags of Saccharine out and do it myself. Daniel did it as far as that goes, so it was done right. And I told him pour it extra thick because these semis get on, but it just can't handle it. I mean, they're up and down that little bitty street. Is, you know.
When you say fix it, are you requesting that the city fix the sidewalk? Or are you requesting the city fix the problem of the trucks turning?
Yes.
Or
All the above. Well, I mean, at least fix the sidewalk, because I fixed it, and I had and realistically, putting posts in it last time wouldn't have worked because that telephone pole was right on the very corner. Now it's back about 8 feet or so. Well, time's up, sorry. Any other questions?
No?
just have Kevin look into it and see what
We did, Mr. Mayhorn has gone out and is looking into it. Our ordinance does state that the sidewalk maintenance is the responsibility of the adjacent property owner, but we do have Mr. Mayhorn, taking a look into the situation.
And my thing is, I tried to fix it with the post. You guys didn't let me, so I think it's on you because I have already fixed it properly. I mean, I didn't halfway do it or whatever, and it's going to continue to be a problem.
Understood, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we have our special presentations. First up, we have Miss Nadia Hutzel. She is with the Waypoint Center, and she's here just to tell us a little bit about the programs that are offered.
I have some handouts. I want to take them and pass them around. And my information is on the bottom of those papers. I don't have any business cards at the moment, but Ms. Jerry's business cards are on there as well. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Nadia Hutzel. I am, well, I know several of you all, work with a lot of you all. But I'm here today to spread the word about, it's called a Waypoint Center. And I'm the Waypoint Impact Manager that runs the center. And I'm located here at the Paris-Bourbon County YMCA on the second floor. But the purpose of the Waypoint Center is basically, it's a access point for families and individuals in the community, where they can come get all their needs met. It could be, rental, utilities, clothing, food, the list goes on and on and on. But they come and see me and, we basically have a discussion and see what needs they are needing at that moment. And then usually they'll come in with one thing and leave out with other things they didn't help with, that they didn't even know that they needed after talking and discussing, what they have going on. So we call it a one-stop shop, and that's basically, where they can come and just get, plenty of things just at that one time, at one place. My goal is to help, everybody that comes in with anything that they need. We are partnership with, we have partnerships throughout the community that we work with. So like if they come in, they need something, I try my hardest to do any and everything I can in my office. But then sometimes there may be a situation where I have to actually direct them to get the help to where they need to go. But yeah, so that's basically the mission of the Waypoint Center, is to help all families and individuals in the community, youth as well. Ms. Jerry, is there anything you'd like to say? Oh, and this is Ms. Jerry. She is actually the director of the Waypoint Centers. There's the one I run here in Paris, and there's two in Lexington. So she's the director of the Waypoint Center, so I'm just gonna let her.
Correct. Okay, we're really excited about the Waypoint Centers and so glad there's one here in Paris. As she was saying, Waypoint is like a stopover. If you're going on a vacation, you get in the airport and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the beach and I don't have a swimming suit. That's what life is. You have a destination, and that destination continues through life. At each step, you have a different need. And so the Waypoint is that place to come, whether it be education, whether it be job skills, soft skills, whether you need help with substance use disorder, whatever it may be, maybe you need insurance. And so our partners come to us. So the goal is for the client to walk in, we do a formal assessment, and from there we connect with everyone. A lot of times we're calling someone, hey, we have someone here that needs insurance, can you come see them? Or needs SNAP benefits, and they come to us. So that hopefully when the client leaves, their suitcase is more prepared. So there are 3 centers. The first one did a soft launch in May of 2021. The official launch was July of 2021. And since then, with the 3 centers being combined, we've served approximately 2,980 people. We have offered over 8,000 services to those people, and we have provided about close to 5,000 instances of services. So we're just beginning, but we're growing, and our goal is to serve the individual, the family, the community. and then just to keep growing.
Do you have any statistics that relate just to Bourbon County?
I would have to pull those.
Okay.
Yes, I forgot to ask Nadia to do that before I came. So yes, we can pull those.
Okay.
We do know that there's a need to get the word out so that people realize what all is offered and that they can come instead of sending them 5 or 6 different places. Just let us come and try to help.
It's fantastic. I think it's great. It's a fantastic service to all. Anything you need from us, we'll try to support you as best we can.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we met with Ms. Hetzel really to talk about, they provide utility assistance to members of the community, but after sitting and listening to all the other services that they offer, and hearing the need for them to get the word out, we thought it'd be a good opportunity for her to come forward and educate us all about what they offer. So next we have Joe LaKafka and Brian Skinner here from RSA Advisors, Financial Advisors. Brett, did you want us to give any leading?
No, actually, we've just kind of started talking with RSA, trying to re-engage. I know we've got some issues or some debt issues to look at over the next year, probably about this time next year that we wanted to start working on. But then also too, I know we've been looking at our cash balances and maybe some different options to handle on how where we have those cash balances sitting at. So,
Welcome.
welcome.
Good morning. Yes, sir.
Sure, yeah, again, Brian Skinner with RSA Advisors, this is Joe LaKafka. We've been working with Jamie and Brad and Stephanie a little bit on your debt issuances. We were here last year, I guess it's been 2 years now, doing a bond anticipation note. We'll get to that, yeah, right on here. So this is basically an overview. We won't go too in-depth on this. I know talking about municipal bonds at 9 in the morning is not the most fun thing to anyone except us two here. So you've got a few opportunities, as you can see up there, to basically consolidate possibly some things. You guys are in great financial condition. Honestly, you don't have much debt out there at all, especially compared to cities of your size in Kentucky. Doing a good job with that. The top little section are those governmental things. Those are your traditional non-utility related debts. You've got, a fire truck, street sweeper, and some police cars. So just some equipment on there, nothing long-term. Your interest rates, as you see right there, are very low in the 1% range. If you've been watching the news, those are a thing of the past at the moment. So you've locked in some really good rates on those, and the maturities aren't very far away. So you see on the fire truck you're going to pay for a while. It's got a longer life. It pays off in 2029. The other two roll off here pretty soon. Below that are your business type activities. Those are typically your utility issues. So you'll have bigger utility expenses, things you got to pay for there. So that first one there, we helped you with back in 2014, is the Kentucky Bond Corporation. That's through the Kentucky League of Cities. We're a financial advisor for the League of Cities as well. So that's one that we will be looking at possibly refinancing in the next year. The far right column there shows the callable information, meaning when you can refinance it. So similar to your home mortgage, at a certain point we're able to refinance these if interest rates are low enough to do that. Right now where interest rates are, it would be right on the verge of making sense. We're hoping by February of 2024 interest rates come back to earth. Of course, we're hoping for that. And then if it makes sense, we would recommend go ahead and refinancing that. Below that, you've got a USDA pretty low interest rate loan. Always look at refinancing. That's 2.75. Not a whole lot of chance of refinancing that other than maybe shortening the term on something like that, and consolidating some of your debt could make sense. It's not a real big loan, so it may make things a little simpler for the administration to consolidate some of that if we can get a similar interest rate. The bottom thing there is the general obligation note that we were talking about, we assisted with. You see the 0.79% interest rate, incredible. The original plan was to maybe even take it out this year, even though it doesn't mature until next year, but with interest rates the way it is, we recommend letting that ride for a little while longer and riding that interest rate as long as we can. Below that is just your bonding capacity. Cities in Kentucky are limited based on your population and your assessed values to how much you can legally borrow. So your calculation comes out to about $37 million of general obligation debt you're able to borrow. That does not mean we're saying you can afford it. That's what you can legally do. Don't believe we recommend you doing that unless you had a real good plan to repay it. That does not relate to any utility work. If you had to go out and do some big utility project, that's not included in that calculation. It would be exempt of that. So it's a summary basically of your debt. The following pages, there's some charts, but there's not a lot. Your debt falls off. You don't have a whole lot, like I said, compared to other cities. This is your general fund paid debt on this page. And we just do everything based on a fiscal year, just for budget purposes. So if we were to issue debt, we may, have you guys not pay as much the first couple years in principal and trying to wrap that around your current structure. Again, just some more pretty numbers on that one. We lay everything out, estimate it as it is, try to be as transparent as we can, and show for budget, what you need to budget in the future, so you know kind of what's coming down the pipe. And this one looks a little goofy. This is that utility fund chart. The reason it looks goofy is that one giant payment, little colorblind, but it looks blue to me, maybe purple, of that bond anticipation note. That was $2.5 million. Technically, that's due next year. Of course, the plan would be either to pay it off, with some cash if you wanted to, or use a bond issue to extend that out. That's originally what it was for your energy project, the water meters and things. So we would extend that out to say a 20-year bond issue and pay it over time. But we just want to show you right now, that would be a need. And then of course, we would wrap that around your existing debt to lessen the impact on your budget the most best way that we could. That's, again, just some more numbers, and that's what the chart's based on there. You've got that USDA that goes out, not a huge thing, probably paying what looks like about $1,000 a month on something like that. So that may be something to try to consolidate some of those smaller loans into one. If we were to take that ban out, refinance that 2014, we could really maybe make it a little easier on everybody, putting it in one issue. Again,
It seems like there was an issue with the USDA loan that we couldn't pay it off.
My memory is it came with a grant,
Yeah, and it was.
and if you paid it off early, you had to repay the grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to dig into the ordinance on that and see. A lot of times there's a set amount of time that you're not allowed to pay those off. So yeah, that very well could be.
And I think the grant was substantially more than the
Yeah,
loan.
it's- yes.
And
Yeah.
like, we'll give you several $100,000 if you financed it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and this is, what we'd come back to the commission with a plan to extend out or refund those bonds. This would be just refunding that ban and extending it out. Just an example of, the yellow there is what your debt would look like, extending that $2.5 million out over time, in this case, 25 years. That's pretty much it. So we put on here, we would, if, we work with Brad and Jamie and Stephanie to say, what do we want to consolidate? Does it make sense to refund that 2014? At this current moment, if we were to do it, we'd probably say, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that 2014 with interest rates where they are. So we would leave everything as is unless there was some desire of the commission to consolidate. So this is what we would, if you wanted to go forward right now, what we would recommend. But again, we recommend sitting on that bond anticipation note for a little while longer. And that's pretty much your debt summary. Are there any questions on that? All right, so another thing we do as part of our financial advisory services, we're not your traditional investment advisor. We're just here to help cities and all of our clients. Right now, we're in a unique situation. I'm sure you've seen the news. The Fed keeps raising interest rates. What they raise are short-term interest rates. We have what we call an inverted yield curve. I could talk about that all day and how it's very strange but it presents a lot of unique opportunities. Cities can actually borrow long-term for lower than they can invest in short-term. So what we're helping a lot of people with the help of US Bank to actually execute a lot of this stuff is purchasing treasuries. A lot of times, you've got your money at a bank, they're paying you maybe a decent percentage, maybe not. But what you can do is invest in treasury securities. Go out there and actually buy the treasury bonds, buy the treasury notes yourself, instead of having them at the bank where they do have to collateralize it. This kind of spreads it out a little bit, diversifies your portfolio some. And this is just an example of a few accounts we had worked with Brad a little bit on. You've got, these are just estimates, something we work with Brad to nail down. What we've done with other entities is kind of stagger out that. We would do maybe a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month treasury portfolio. That way, every 3 months, you've got something maturing. That way, you're not locked up having to sell treasury bonds. You can sell treasury bonds if you get into a real big bind, but this way, if you've got it staggered out every 3 months, after 3 months, you can look at it and say, does it make sense? Do we need this cash, or should we go ahead and invest it and buy a 12-month treasury? That way, we've always got, a year's worth of investments. We could go out to 18 months. Once you get past 18 months, the interest rates start to go down, interest rate risk, all that. Like I said, inverted yield curve. These yields are pretty accurate as of this morning, which is just dumb luck because we did this last week. The markets have been up and down with, you may have, again, I keep referring to the news, different bank failures. Treasury rates were down 50 basis points, which is 0.1 or 0.5% on Thursday and Friday, back up a little bit, 20 basis points this morning. So kind of all over the place. So you would just kind of get what you get. We don't set that. The market, US Bank, when they go out and purchase those, sets that. And this is just some projected interest. So say you had $5 million and you staggered it out, what would happen? And if you didn't reinvest, it would flow into a government money market fund that's earning currently about 40%. So you would earn about $220,000 on $5 million over the year is what we'd be projecting now. Again, that's just for your one main account. You've got a few other utility accounts here and there, different things that we could look at and possibly, like we mentioned on the debt, consolidate some of the smaller accounts and diversify your situation a little bit. Any questions on that?
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Brad, did you have anything you want to?
No, I'm just, you guys want to give us some direction on how to maybe move forward. I know, over the last couple of years, we've worked really hard to build up the savings balance, and right now, we've pretty much got about a year's worth of expenditure saved up. So, would like to look at some of those to help us kind of shore that up and maybe earn a little more, and maybe work with RSA to work on finalizing some things. So,
Well, I think anything that we've got that's excess that we probably
Yeah.
could invest in something.
I like that idea of the 369,
Just sitting
1
here,
year,
yeah.
so you always have something maturing.
At once, yeah.
Yeah, because that'd keep us about every 3 months, we'd have about 6 months worth of expenses cash on hand, and keeping 6 months kind of rolling as well too. So,
Do we need a resolution or something, or a?
well, I think we did some digging around. I wasn't sure if we really had an investment policy.
We would bring something back
Yeah.
for official approval. We just wanted today really to show, and we may start a little more conservative because we know that we're working to get, for example, grants on the transfer station and things like that, but we have some other large obligations out there. But wanted to show the idea of, doing some conservative, modest investments could yield us some additional revenue that we wanted to get in front of you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to consent agenda. We have 6 items on consent agendas, item A through F. Are there any items that any of the commission would like to pull and discuss separately? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So, second. Go
A
ahead.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to a brief update on the strategic work plan that we are working with KLC on. We are tentatively scheduled for March 28th, which is 2 weeks from today, after the regular commission meeting. So we're anticipating that would start about 10 a.m. as a workshop. I wanted to see if that date works for all of you. So we would go a little longer than we normally do on a Tuesday morning. Couple of things that go with that. I've emailed and also provided with you today a draft of the agenda, so you get the idea of the types of questions that they'll be asking you during the meeting. This meeting is intended to focus on learning commission's priorities. So we'll have some additional discussion with staff, but this one is for commission priorities. With that, they've also provided a pre-survey that they request you fill out, and that would be due on March 21st. So you can either return that to me and I'm glad to submit it over to them, or you could email it to sstoll@klc.org, and I've sent you that email address as well if you'd like to send it directly to them. So they will compile the response, they will make them anonymous and create a report to say, here's what we started with as far as the approach from the commissioners.
Is this session going to be open to the public or just a closed session?
It is a workshop, so it would be open to the public, but it is not, there wouldn't necessarily be public comments on it, so it would be open, but not.
Okay.
The focus is to try to get commission's priorities. And then the other item along that lines that I wanted to bring forward to commission to see if there's interest is we could do a quick community survey via SurveyMonkey. It would be an online survey to get some feedback from the community on things that they'd like to see the city of Paris focus on in the next couple of years. From a timing standpoint, this survey would only really be available electronically. We could print some copies out short term, but due to the short turnaround, if we wanted to have the details ready, the responses ready for the commission meeting on the 28th, we would really need to go through the electronic system that automatically compiles those results as opposed to having to manually put that in. Alternatively, we can put a survey out there and make the date go longer. We just wouldn't necessarily have it for this discussion. So I recommend that as a first approach, if you guys are interested in a basic community survey, that we do it electronically so you have those results. It would only be published for about a week and a half, but it would give you some input from that public community as you look into identifying the priorities for the next couple of years. I would then recommend that we get in a routine where we could issue a citizen survey or public input surveys annually, and we can have a little bit longer lead time on that process. But that would be my recommendation for as we head into the next 2 weeks or so. Or we can just leave it as what the KLC has put forward as well and say we'll do a citizen survey after the fact or at a future time.
I think it would be interesting if we could find out what the public would like to see their community to look like in the next 5, 10, 20 years. We still have a large number of people in the community that don't use computers. So that would eliminate some people unless we do have a stack of paper, hard copy items they can use, fill out, return. But I think it would be good for us to do this survey.
I think so too, but I don't think we need the data in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think we do our strategic plan and get that information, and then do the survey, both online and hard copy, and compare what we get at the end.
And I think that's fine. We can do our initial meeting with KLC, and then what would happen is they would create a report that would come back for you all to approve. And we could have the goal to, you'll have the community input by then, and if we want to make any tweaks to the plan document before we finalize it. All right, so we will move forward in that fashion, and it's just, I've outlined some very high-level questions that we would ask, is we would ask for the keywords that people feel describe the city of Paris, their overall satisfaction with the city of Paris, how they get their information from the city of Paris, and then name one thing that they would like to see make the city of Paris a better place. And so there we're looking for if there's any desire for any expansion of programs or anything else. We're looking for that feedback from them. So those are the high-level questions that we would be looking to put out to the public.
Sharon, have you seen like what the final product looks like that they've done for other cities?
I have not.
Because I know
Not
those
recently,
were floated
anyway.
a while ago. I probably haven't. Yeah, so you can
Okay.
kind of see what they're working.
Okay.
It looks really nice. It's
Okay.
like, here's the 10, 6, 8, however many you all pick, priorities.
Okay.
It's impressive.
And this is a work plan, so it's a little shorter term focus than, you know, it would be focusing on 2, 3, 5 years out, as opposed to if we were to do a full strategic plan, which often comes with workshops with the department heads and workshops with the community. That's usually looking at what does Paris, 30 years look like out, and identifying bigger areas that we need to focus on. But this is a work plan, so this is a first step in that process, and then if we find that it's beneficial, there is more that we can entertain, kind of dabbling in that world for.
Okay.
Great, thank you. That brings us to outside agency reports. Ms. Betty Ann, did you want to get us started?
Good morning, and thank you all for closing the streets down for all of our activities that are upcoming. Just want to say that the Keeneland magazine came out yesterday or early this week, and there is a 7-page article on Garrett Morgan. And for anybody to have a 7-page article in that magazine is probably unheard of. And I was in Lockley Antiques, and she showed it to me, and she said, "You had something to do with it, Sharon?"
It should have been 10 pages, because that lady was at the library constantly, calling information. And I have not seen it yet, but I will.
I haven't seen, I saw it, but I haven't read it yet, so if you can get your hands on it, I think
Okay.
it's very worthy of a good read, and if I can get some, I will see what I can do about passing them out
We
as well.
used to get bulk.
Well, I didn't advertise in it this month.
Okay.
So, for spring, so had I advertised for spring, I would have gotten a bulk order, Mike, thank you. But we can still get some. So, with that said, one thing that we are promoting and that's upcoming is March 30th. There is going to be a kickoff to the Secretariat Park Brick campaign, and Holly McMillan is hosting that at her office. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. Everyone is invited. You all are all invited. Everyone's invited. I'm going to leave some invitations here on the table and some information about the bricks. The park will have a nice brick patio in it and a brick walkway throughout, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to have your name put on a brick and be immortalized in the park. Lauren's not here. She had another meeting. She asked me to remind you all that the elected officials breakfast is this Thursday, 8 to 10, Bourbon County Middle School in the multi-purpose room. Of course, you all are supposed to be there, all the elected officials. And she's going to send out the format of the meeting by the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shortest one you've ever done. Right there.
Miss Andrea, would you like to go next?
Well, pressure's on now. Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'll give you just a few updates about public meetings that are coming up. This evening, we have an administrative appeal hearing of the Board of Adjustments for a expansion of non-conforming use at Thwaites property off of 17th Street. So that is at 5:30 here in the Commission Chambers this evening. We also have the joint meeting tomorrow evening, which I'm looking forward to. This year for the budget, we've accumulated quite a reserve, so I'm looking forward to presenting you actually a budget that, even though we're requesting more, it will be a reduction in what the city will be paying to the Planning Commission for the next fiscal year. On Thursday, we have the Planning Commission hearing right here in the Commission Chambers. It's at 6:30. We just have some regular business to go over for that meeting. Next Monday is the West Side Neighborhood Meeting, and that is March 20th at 6:30. I'd encourage you all to attend. There's going to be a presentation by the Kentucky Brownfields program on the Phase 1 assessment results for the existing waste transfer station site. So there'll be a presentation by them, and then afterward, the University of Kentucky architecture program, they have students that are going to be present to talk about visioning for the future of the site and to get input from the neighborhood. We then have another Board of Adjustment hearing on the 21st. It's been a very busy month for the planning office. So that is at 5:30 here in the Commission Chambers as well. All of this information is on the planning office's website, so bourboncountyplanning.com, and we advertise these meetings in the newspaper as well, so keep an eye out for those legal notices. And if you have any questions for me about each individual item, please come see me. You know where to find me. So that's all I have for today. Questions? Thanks.
Thank you.
Are there any staff that have anything they'd like to report?
So just a brief update on code enforcement ordinances. So after last meeting from the commission, several of us were together that spoke with the county attorney last week as well. He's going to get that going forward for the county, and so because this is joint, we don't want to get too far out in front of each other. But the goal is obviously to have the same procedure that everyone will follow, but for the substantive portions of what is a violation of the ordinance, it's obviously going to look different in the county than what it's going to look in the city. Noise violation or the tall grass, that's clearly different rules in agricultural zones in the county than what it's going to be in a residential subdivision in the city. So hopefully that's all harmonized in the next few weeks, and we're pretty much ready to go with the adoption of that and the appointment to the board.
I know we anticipated on having a draft of the audit report for you guys here today. We're still kind of wrapping up with the auditors. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have hopefully a draft into the weekend and be ready to present something to you guys on March 28th.
I do have a couple of things, no surprise. One of the things I wanted to indicate is that we discussed the need to have a wheelchair here at the city building to aid anybody who has some mobility limitations. Bourbon Community Hospital has actually graciously donated a wheelchair for us, so I do have a thank you card if I could send that around for your guys' signature. The Paris Storytelling Festival has also sent us a thank you card as well. And just information on that, I have the brochures. Their event is May 12th through the 14th, so if you do not have that on your calendars, I would encourage you to do so. Andrea indicated it, but a reminder that we have our joint meeting tomorrow at 5:30 with the fiscal court. That is just to discuss the agencies that are under a joint venture with the city and the fiscal court. So that is not necessarily, there are agencies that we both assist in funding with, but these are the ones that we have a joint agency agreement that we'll be discussing the budget on. As we receive those other agencies' budget requests, they'll be sent to Brad for inclusion in the budget as needed, and then also to you all for any input as well.
And the meeting is here.
It is actually at the library.
That's right, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong place this morning. Okay.
5:30 at the library tomorrow. One of the items that I wanted to talk to you guys briefly on is in 2022, staff had brought forward, and this was January 2022, a policy related to mutual aid and how things are taken care of during times that we respond to other agencies in emergency. So we recently responded to Frankfurt with the windstorms that had occurred with our electric department. And so as part of that, previously, the discussion is we historically pay them the overtime rate as well as all incurred actual expenses, including lodging and meals. So we did respond to Frankfurt. I would like to let you know what happens then. We bill out to the responding agency for reimbursement. So I'd like approval for us to continue that process and move forward with. Last time we had a recommendation to accept the mutual aid reimbursement for the electric groundsman. In this case, it would be for Frankfurt, as well for overtime as well as all incurred expenses. A note on that, 2 notes actually I'd like to discuss is we have historically billed for all incurred expenses. One of the things staff and I have been going back and forth is we'd like to clean up a policy on it. Typically, when we do our meal reimbursements, it is at the GSA rate or the federal, they determine by what location. Sometimes it's in the benefit of the employee, sometimes it's not, depending on the meals that are incurred. So we're gonna stay with the current practice for emergencies, but our current policy would be for the GSA. So going forward, we likely would look to use the GSA rate in the event that we would have any emergencies. The second thing I wanted to note is, as I was going back, and Aaron keeps very good notes and files, one of the things that I wanted to highlight is the fact that these emails talk about the fact that our staff, when they respond, how professional they are, that they're some of the best staff that these agencies have seen in responding to these emergencies. And I think that goes without note that we have a fantastic staff, and we all know that, but I wanted to make sure that we know that, but other communities are recognizing that the staff that we're sending them are professional, hardworking, and really top-notch. So in case that hadn't been brought to light from previous emergency responses, I wanted to make sure it is now. So what I'm asking for is a motion to approve the overtime payment and reimbursement to the employees for the emergency response to Frankfurt, and the billing of Frankfurt in return for those.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? Stephanie, can you call the roll?
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next thing I want to talk about is earmarks through Congressman Barr's office. It is quite a quick turnaround, but they have opened the possibility to do earmarks through the congressman's office where we can ask for funds. Working with Bob Casher at the Bluegrass Ad, we really identified 2 projects that we could potentially push forward. One is we have a project on the books related to our water valve replacement phase 1 that has also been modified to address lead service line replacement. So we've had some conversations over the last couple of months about new regulations that are come forward about doing an inventory for lead service line replacement and what that process looks like. We have identified about 200 old halo meters that need to be replaced. So we did our water meter replacement project, but there are about 200 of them that are a little bit different that wasn't included in that. So these are some of the older areas older buildings that have these old halos on them, and we anticipate the cost of that project is about $430,000. And so that is one thing that we are considering moving forward to for the Congressman's office. The other one would be the Claysville trunk sewer replacement project, which is much larger and less likely to obtain funding, but an important need for us as well. So we've done an I&I study historically to talk about those needs, but that is a couple $1 million that project would be. So we likely would be more likely to receive funding for the first one, but I throw the second one out there because that one remains, as we discuss projects, that one always seems to creep to the top of the list of priorities. So I wanted to see if there were any concerns or feedback for us writing those up. We would also need support letters from the community, so I would have to engage and ask for those letters. It's due by Friday, so it's a pretty quick turnaround, but I didn't want to submit anything on our behalf that the commission was not aware of or supportive of. In turn, the county has also asked, they're making their request to assist with the funding, additional funding towards their park project.
Are there deadline dates or anything like that?
So this is, in my experience, when you're asking for funding for them, it's not necessarily like a grant that has a hard deadline, but you're more likely to get funding if it is a project that you can show is ready to go, has a shorter timeline. So, but there is not necessarily drop dead dates other than the submittal.
Okay.
The county would like a letter of support for the Congress for their park project as well. I wanted to make sure that there were no concerns with us writing the letter on behalf of the city as well. Okay, thank you. I'm almost through my list. Last thing I wanted to just mention to you all, you've gotten some communication for me on this one, is related to the legislation about a moratorium that's being proposed related to annexations. So the KLC, the Kentucky League of Cities, has provided some alternative language, and KACO, which is the Kentucky Association for County Officials, has rejected that language. So there may be a request to have some people come visit Frankfort and show support for the fact that the cities would like a seat at the table when it comes to this legislation. I'll let you know if those dates are happening and see if there's interest, but this is definitely, from a KLC perspective, some of the most damaging legislation they've seen in a long time. And so it would put a pause on any annexations into cities, even voluntary ones where, you know, the citizen wants their property annexed for a couple of years. So I will keep you guys posted on that legislation movement. That's all for me.
Am I correct in thinking that the 30th is the day that the Paris school systems want us to come to be a part of their groundbreaking? Okay, okay. All right, that's it.
Where is?
It's on Main, it's
It's up at Southside?
uh-huh.
Ah,
Paris
I'll send
Elementary,
you all
not
that.
Southside.
I'm sorry. That'll always.
I think it's from 4 to 5 p.m. and some other officials will be there, and maybe a couple of state education people as well.
I don't have any.
Is there anything else to come before? All right, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.